Hey guys, Civil Lord here, back in with another review. This time not of an action figure. We'll be doing one of those later today, so stay tuned for that. But today we'll be taking a look at a series that I hope we get plenty of action figures from in the near to distant future, and that is of course going to be none other than Masters of the Universe Revolution, brought to us by the fine folks over at Netflix, Powerhouse Animation, Mattel Studios, and of course the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Smith, amongst others. So, the spoiler-free part of this review, I can sum that up in about one sentence. If you are not the biggest fan of Masters of the Universe Revelation, I guarantee you, you're going to find something to like in Masters of the Universe Revolution. Because this series kicked ass. This series was gangbusters, it was firing on all cylinders, and in my opinion makes up for anything I personally didn't care for from Masters of the Universe Revelation, which there were a couple of things. Granted, I did enjoy that series as well, but Revolution's way better. I can't deny that. So, with that being said, as I mentioned in my Masters of the Universe Revelation reviews, sometimes you gotta sit through something you're not that big on to get to something that you're really gonna like. And Revolution is that in spades. To me, this is the Masters of the Universe equivalent to Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War. My favorite MCU movie, by the way. I just think everyone involved did a really kick-ass job on it, and I can't recommend the series enough. And that ends the spoiler-free part of the review, so if you haven't watched it, pause the video, go turn it on. It's only 2 hours. Like, every episode's like 20 to 30 minutes tops. It's really fast-paced and is over really quick. But it feels like they unpacked a ton in the time they had to work with. So, you know, kudos to everyone involved once again for that. But spoiler warning here on out, because we're going to talk about the cast. Because this is my kind of forte, my... what's the right word for it? The thing that interests me the most, my specialty when it comes to stuff like this, because I'm big on voice acting. That's one of my passions. I love a lot of voice actors. Literally watch any of my reviews about like cartoon or video game or, you know, even comic book related characters, figures, what have you. I tend to mention voice actors a lot because I just think it's an underrated art form. And, of course, my favorite from this series was going to be none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Keith David as Hordak. I mean, come on. Who better to play the role of the ruthless leader of the evil horde than the voice of frickin' Spawn and Goliath from Gargoyles? Like, get the frick out of here. He just continues to fire on all cylinders, this man. Like, it astounds me that there are people dogging on this series. It's like when Keith David is in something, it's almost as good as when Tim Curry is in something, or Ron Perlman is in something. You just can't deny it. It's undeniable. It's amazing, right? That said, all that aside, as much as I love my man Keith David, he's my boy, probably my favorite voice actor of all time. Not gonna lie. The Shat killed it as Keldor. Like, say what you will about Captain James Tiberius Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, William Shatner, at age friggin' 90, was probably the best Keldor I've ever seen. Now, granted, we only have 2000X and the CGI He-Man and the Masters of the Universe show, also on Netflix. Never did a review of that, though. We only have those Keldors to compare him to, but I think the Shat is the best Keldor of the three. And that's saying a lot, because I love my beloved 2000X. You know, I prefer the more long black hair and black goatee, Skeletor armored, you know, WWF Undertaker looking Keldor from 2000X. But despite the fact that this Keldor has a very whack character design, if they put him in the Skeletor armor, it would have looked obvious as all hell that, hey, he's a bad guy. putting him in the gold armor with the purple cape and whatnot, it made him different to where they wouldn't, be suspicious. So, in that regard, I understand it, but I would like to see this Keldor in those duds at some point. That'd be really cool. Maybe he was in the flashback, I couldn't really tell. But, yeah, man, William Shatner did a great job. All the people who reprised their roles did a great job. Of course, Tony Todd killed it as Scareglow. I mean, I loved him as Scareglow before. I still do. It says, he does come off a little rapey sometimes with his obsession with people's fears and adding people to his collection. A little rapey, dude. A little creepy, but a little freaky there. But, I guess that's the point, right? That said, there were some characters that weren't reprised from Revelation, one of which was Queen Marlena. Alicia Silverstone was not the voice of Queen Marlena this time around. I'm unsure who did her voice this time around, but they did a good job. A very good job. That said, the standout for the replacement voice actors, we'll say, is the one who plays Teela. It's Supergirl from the CW DC Universe. So, the Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, of course, Stargirl, and Batwoman, to name, that's most of them, right? Of course, other shows Kevin Smith has also worked on. Some of which I liked, some of which I'm a bit meh towards, but, when something's been going a long time, it can feel a little meh after a while. But whoever plays Supergirl did a bang-up job as Teela, and, just something I gotta ask of Netflix, can we get a redub of Revelation with this chick as Teela? Because that was my main problem with Revelation. It wasn't so much the story, but I just did not care for Sarah Michelle Gellar's voice. It's nasally, whiny, pissy, moany, complainy, entitled sounding. It's my main problem with the Teela character. Outside of the fact that, yeah, she had a stupid, early 2000s nu metal haircut. That's pretty dumb too, but I could have probably lived with that if the voice wasn't so, That, and I will say, Revolution made the female characters look a little bit less like dudes this time around, which I didn't really pick up on during Revelation, but I guess that was a thing. But, whatever. It is what it is. Can't please everybody, right? That said, the story. So, again, Skeletor is Keldor this time around. And the way they did this is pretty ingenious, because Hordak uses mind wipe, mind control technology to pretty much erase Skeletor's memory of being Keldor, and puts into his brain that, yeah, you're an interdimensional demon. Well, surprise, surprise, he's not. He's Keldor, Randor's half-brother. The bastard son of King Minos? No, something like that. And of course, he is taken under Hordak's wing and trained to be his acolyte, because Hordak is a little bit scared of magic, and he needs someone to wield magic, so in comes Skeletor. That said, he's not the only one Hordak brainwashes. We'll get into that. Because throughout the series, we see Skeletor, evolve into Skeletech. Well, technically that happened at the end of Revelation, but you know what I mean. And he changes, Too Bad, Webstor, Clawful, Spikor into teched out motherboard minions, which, can we get figures like all of them? They looked awesome, dude. We still need Whiplash, too. I got my Triclops and Trapjaw here. I'd love to have the rest. No Beastman, though. And also, one thing I'm a bit disappointed with, we did not see Kevin Conroy reprise his role as Merman. It wouldn't really make sense for the story, but it would have been nice to see him come back one last time for one last hurrah, and maybe help the heroic warriors fight the Technovirus. So I can only assume it didn't affect the Aquaticans, because tech doesn't work well underwater sometimes, depending on what it is. Short circuits and everything. That said, moving on from that, instead of Horde Troopers, we get these Techno Titans, which is big, mech robot things, which are pretty cool looking. They're quite large, so I don't know if we'll ever get a figure of those, but they're cool looking. And then, of course, we get Granomir, who bestows Teela the power of Ka, which is the snake god. There's Zor, the falcon god or hawk god, Havoc, the ram god, and Ka, the serpent god. And Teela manifests the power of all three to bring back Preternia, so Prince Adam's father, Randor, has a place to go rest. Because, of course, we all kind of knew this from the trailer. Randor dies. Long story short, that's why Keldor kind of comes to reclaim the throne, or so we thought. It's just Skeletor in disguise. And Adam can continue being He-Man. That said, King He-Man is a thing. So, that seems kind of like, somebody wasn't thinking there. He could have just been King He-Man, But, whatever. It's fine. The way they did it, it's fine. It's okay. It works. I will say, because this was only a 5-part series, I think things came off a little bit rushed. Like, at the end of the series, Adam declares that the Kingdom of Eternia is a democracy now, instead of a monarchy. And, this can be justified if you look at it this way. Keldor comes in and takes the crown. He is crowned king by Adam, He-Man, whatever. And he does a pretty shit job of running things because he tries to turn everyone into, evil, mind-controlled cyborg minions of Hordak, right? So, therefore, the people of Eternia have a right to be kind of distasteful towards the royal family because of Keldor, even though he is, the bastard son and everything. So that, in mind, makes sense for why they changed it to a democracy. The people never really had to have a revolution to get the democracy. I think they could have squeezed one more episode in there and really flushed that out a bit. The whole democracy thing. And I'm looking forward to all the nasty comments about President Andra. Because, people think with their masculinity and their political standing as opposed to, just let it go, man. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, what's President Andra gonna do? She's not He-Man. She's not the star of the show. She's the side character. She also is the Man-at-Arms, so people getting upset that they call her Man-at-Arms a lot. Well, they're calling her by her freaking rank, dude. I don't know what you want. You want them to just call him Andra? Like, they're not going to call He-Man Adam. They're going to call him He-Man. They didn't call Man-at-Arms Duncan all the time. They called him Man-at-Arms. It's just stupid. That said, Man-of-War is badass. I'm just going to say it. That's a really sick-looking design for good old Donkey, and I hope we get that as figure as well. Also, name of an 80s power metal band. Also really sick. That said, I also really like Gwildor, who is voiced by the other producer of the show, whose name escapes me. I think he did a good job. Kind of sounded like Weird Al Yankovic to me, but it's not. It's just the co-producer of the show. The main producer of the show, Kevin Smith, is actually the co-producer. But he did a good job. I liked the camaraderie between him and Orko. Two characters I couldn't care less about, but they did a good job. And then we had all kinds of cameos from other characters. Of course, the Evil Horde, we had Mantenna, Leech, and Grizzlor. Leech sucked the life out of Rockon, or Stondar, one of the rock dudes, and he literally turned into a tombstone. Get it? Because he turns into a rock. Ha 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 ha. We also got to see Ram Man again. He was in the end of Revelation, but he turned up in the beginning of Revolution here. And we also got to see Snout Spout and Buzz Off. And Rio Blast, who kind of sounds like Mr. Banjo from the Robot Chicken DC Comics special. Which, if you YouTube that, it will pop up. It's quite hilarious, but he kind of reminds me of that. And then at the end, we get to see all the characters of Preternia, including the Rock Warrior that got cucked out by Leech. So that's fun. We got to see Mossman come back, Fisto, Clamp Champ. Literally everybody. Randor even came back for a second there, so really, really cool. And that's pretty much it. We get to see Skeletor throw down with Hordak. probably my favorite episode. Right after he delivers to Hordak Motherboard's head in a box. And for some reason, the only thing I can think of was the Saturday Night Live skit with Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg. If you're a Saturday Night Live fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's her head in a box. Ooh. So, best line in the show, though, for me personally, is "Die, you blacksmithian prick." When Skeletor is fighting Hordak, that's what he says. And can we just give Mark Hamill an award for being the best Skeletor? I mean, seriously, where is his, like, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, whatever the hell the award's called, for voice acting? Like, he did a bang-up job as Skeletor. Arguably the best Skeletor. I still like the CGI Skeletor. I thought he was fun and, like, evil crazy in a way. But Mark Hamill is the man here. He steals the show as far as a returning cast member. Mark Hamill is my favorite, my personal favorite. Say what you will about him, politically, which is just freaking stupid. You're gonna judge someone by that? Get a life. But he did an amazing job here, and it's funny to see Luke Skywalker and Captain Kirk being literally the same person. So, yeah, that is Masters of the Universe Revolution in a nutshell. I liked pretty much everything about it. I don't remember anything I didn't care for in it. Yeah, man, I just don't... I wish Henry Rollins got a line in there, I guess. He was an amazing Triclops. Him and Trapjaw just kind of kept their yaps shut. But, again, 5 episodes. They squeezed a lot in. And speaking of squeezing a lot in, something to look forward to. If you check out the credit scenes at the end of the last episode, for helping bring back Paternia, Evil-Lyn, now known as Good-Lyn, she was Granomir's caretaker throughout this series, right up until he died, which sucks, because Granomir's awesome. He's a big freaking dragon man. Evil-Lyn is made a Cosmic Enforcer by Zodak, and sitting in one of the chairs next to him is Strobo, so that's interesting. Zodak kind of sounds like the professor from Powerpuff Girls, or, those of you Star Wars fans, the announcer for Star Wars The Clone Wars animated series. Alright. And then, after that, we see Despara. And Hordak, who was presumably dead, but is being resurrected, probably because he's part cyborg too. They could probably bring him back with some tech. But we see Despara, voiced by, she's a pretty well-renowned voice actor. She's been in stuff for well over 20 years. Most notably, the modern voice of Daphne from a lot of Scooby-Doo stuff. But she was Vicky in Fairly Odd Parents, and a show I like, Generator Rex, she was Doc Holliday. And for Masters of the Universe fans, she was Evil-Lyn in the CGI series. So she is playing Despara, aka Adora. I don't know if she can turn into She-Ra, but in the flashback with Kaldor and Hordak, Hordak is holding a baby. That's Adora. So, they might not be able to bring in She-Ra, but maybe they can bring in Despara, and I'm all for that. Because not only does it look like we're going to see Despara in the next series, whatever that may be, Revelation Part 3, whatever, but she mentions Horde Prime. What's that guy going to look like? Like, holy crap, man. Something to look forward to. Something to look forward to, indeed. Like, as far as the Evil Horde goes, I thought they were pretty light here. The focus was mostly on Hordak. And I'm kind of glad it was, because that fight scene between him and Skeletor is so well choreographed. It was badass. If you can't enjoy the rest of the series, you should at least be able to enjoy that, because that shit was sick. That, to quote another YouTube channel, that shit was freaking dope. Like, But yeah, man, I love the Horde in this, despite the fact they were short-lived. But as far as the Horde moving forward, I'd love to see Dragstore. I'd love to see Dragstore, like, use that wheel in his stomach to grind someone's face on, because that seems to be the hardcore shit that this modern Masters of the Universe series stuff is doing. They're doing some pretty hardcore kills. Like, Leech literally killed a guy. He sucked the life out of him. I'm curious if we'll see General Sundar or actual Horde troopers. Maybe Catra, Scorpina, Octavia, Voltac, the Vulture, Gargoyle-looking guy. Rat Trap would be sick. You know, the possibilities are endless. There's a lot of members of the Evil Horde. Shadow Weaver, you know, so something to look forward to, man. Something to look forward to. I hope this series does well. I hope people who like the show, you know, spread the word about it in a respectable manner. You know, people can sit there and talk shit all they want. Let them talk their shit. FUCK them into next Tuesday. We don't need their negativity here. We like the show. That's all that matters. That's all that should matter. If people like something, let them like it, whether it's bad or not. You know, I'm totally okay with people liking modern day pop music, even though I think most of it's recycled, you know, processed garbage. But people like it. I don't think less of people for liking that, or liking certain individuals that may or may not be running for office later this year. Now, that's people's business. So why can't people just like a show? Why you gotta sit there and list all these reasons why this sucks? It's like, that's great. No one cares. Like, all these quote-unquote news sites that just want to bash shit. It's like, really? You have all these followers and all you do is bitch. I don't understand that. I really don't. Like, if you're going to criticize something, at least give a shit and find something to like about it. Don't just sit there and be a negative Nancy, because nobody wants that. So, with that being said, watch this freaking show. You know, spread the word about it. If people are hating on it, don't give them the time of day. That's not how we're going to get more show. We're going to get more show by singing its praises and liking it and watching it again. You know, that's how you get shit done. Take it from somebody who's in the Gargoyles fandom who wants some more Gargoyle shit. I'm doing everything I can to spread the good word of Gargoyles to everybody who may not know of it. Like, there's comics out there, there's figures out there, there's other merchandise out there. You can watch it on Disney Plus. Like, that's the only way you're going to get anywhere nowadays. Buy the merch, buy the product, watch the show, spread the word, be respectable about it. We don't need all this negativity in the world nowadays. There's too much of that as it is. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you. If it was, no, I did what I did. If you got a problem with that, kiss my ass. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.